World Series Report 71 with Joe Garagiola and Sandy Koufax. Brought to you by Texaco and the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. Trust Texaco to have the right gasoline for you.
I'd like to tell you a story. Of course, all stories begin once upon a time. Once upon a time, I was a left-handed hitting catcher, and I spent a lot of time in the bullpen in Pittsburgh waiting for the phone to ring. I dreamed about the time that the phone would ring and the manager would call me to pinch hit in a tough spot. Last night, the phone finally rang, but it was for this fella. It was person to person, from Danny Murtaugh to Milt May. It was a tough spot. The score was tied 3-3. Milt May is a free swinger who cuts and slashes, and he gets a base hit to drive in the winning run, Bob Robertson. What must it be like to be the youngest player in the World Series and then find yourself an instant hero? Well, to find out, Sandy Koufax and Milt May. Sandy?
Thank you, Joe. Milt, first of all, congratulations. I'm not going to ask you if that's the biggest hit you've ever got. I'm sure that we both know it probably was. What about the pitch? It looked like the ball wasn't even a strike. Was it high?
I believe, looking back on the pitch, I believe it might have been a little high, maybe an inch or so. A reporter told me after the game in the locker room that Earl Weaver said that they were going to try, if I got up, that they were going to, try to make me hit a bad pitch and not throw me a strike. So I guess their scouting reports is that I swing a little freely up there, maybe to a few bad pitches, and he's probably right.
It's got to be a tough job being the second-string catcher behind a fellow like Manny Sanguillen. Manny, last winter, they tried to play him in the outfield in winter ball, but I understand he ran into a wall, got hit by a line drive. Can you play anyplace else?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I think Manny's the best catcher in the major leagues right now. There aren't too many, or never have been too many, that hit over 300 consistently like he does. As far as me playing another position, I don't believe so. One of the main assets that I have going for me is the fact that I am a left-handed hitting catcher, and I think that I just have to prove that I can play and do well enough to force a move to be made somehow.
Well, Milt, good luck to you. Maybe we'll see you behind the plate one of these days for the Pirates. Let's go back to New York and Joe Garagiola.
Okay, Sandy. Hey, if you want the reaction of an older man, Bruce Keeson. You see, he's 6 months older. Bruce Keeson is a 21-year-old from Pasco, Washington, who woke up this morning and found out that he owned the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And here he is in slow motion. Sidearm delivery. Reminds you a bit of Ewell Blackwell. Gives you a lot of elbows, fingernails, kneecaps, and a good fastball. He broke some Baltimore hearts last night with that good fastball that you just saw, and it's lucky that that's all he broke, because he got Davy Johnson once. Frank Robinson. And Andy Etchebarren is going to find it a little tough to sit down this morning. Even on the bases, young Keeson was very aggressive. He gets Dave Johnson again. Watch what he does. He gets the wrong cap. When Bruce Keeson came to the park this morning, you know what he had in his back pocket? He had the city of Pittsburgh right there. He also had a date with Sandy Koufax. Hey, Sandy, does he change his clothes in the telephone booth and leap tall buildings in a single bound?
I'm sure that the Orioles think he can this morning. Bruce, an incredible performance last night. A lot of people said you were nervous in the first game in Baltimore that you were in. Didn't look like it last night.
Well, over in Baltimore, I had a little trouble getting the ball over the plate. I couldn't find the plate, and I got behind the hitters, and they were just taking. I threw 9 pitches, and 8 of them were balls, and I was very displeased with my performance. And last night, I knew I had to come in the game and throw strikes and get the ball over the plate, and luckily that's what I did.
He hit 3 batters last night. Somebody might accuse you of throwing at the hitters. It looked to me like a couple of them were breaking balls.
Right, they were very poorly thrown pitches. All they did was spin up there, and they were very bad pitches, and they were supposed to be on the outside of the plate. All I did was spun. I'm just thankful they didn't hang over the middle of the plate where they could get some get the bat on the ball.
I know that the right-handers are going to have a lot of trouble staying in there, hitting against you. What about left-handers? Is there a possibility that you might have a little trouble with them? The Orioles have a few great ones. One of them, Boog Powell, in the 9th inning last night, proved to everybody just how strong he was. You get a chance to look at it. You see Boog break that bat with one hand, and I know from experience, I've been mad once or twice, tried it. It's not easy to do. Do the left-handers give you a problem?
In the past, left-handers, if anybody's going to give me any trouble, a left-hander usually would, because I used to throw a real flat curve, and now I throw more or less a slider, or a combination between a curve and a slider. And that's helped me. I have to be more careful with the left-hander than I am a right-hander. I've come up with a change-up, and that's been real effective for me on a left-handed batter. So overall, I've improved on how I can handle a left-handed batter, but like I say, if anybody's going to give me in trouble, a left-hander will.
Well, last night I don't think anybody would have given you any trouble. Congratulations, good luck to you. Let's go back to New York and Joe Garagiola.
Okay, Sandy. Say, if you're 37 years old with a complete set of aches and pains, baseball should be pretty tough for you, right? Wrong. You stick around and I'll show you exactly what I mean. On yesterday's show, we gave you a chance of being an umpire, and today we're going to give you a chance to be a scout. I want you to watch a particular hitter, and then you would have to report back on how the defense should play him or how a pitcher should pitch to him. This hitter's name, though, Roberto Clemente. Going to be a good job for you. First thing you'd write down, be a right-handed batter, and he hits it down the right field line, just barely foul. That's the one that hit the pole. So you might say, play him that way because he hits to right field. See what happens. Okay, he does hit the right field. He gets a base hit on this one. Here he is again now. Whoops, hit this one through the middle. So now you got one in right field and one up the middle. And would you bunch him? No, because he's got good eye and he can walk. Can he run? He can run fast enough to beat it out. You know, when you work on a guy like that, you try to move the ball around. Watch this piece of film because we combined it. Keep your eye on the catcher, how he constantly moves to get Clemente out. He's outside this time. Keep your eye on Etchebarren. Remember, it was outside. There he goes again, outside corner. Now he's way in. The cliche, I guess, says pitch low and behind him. There he goes, way in. Way out. If you get it too good, he's going to hit it. You got to constantly move that ball around. I know when they talked about him in the clubhouse, they used to say things like, if he had 1 foot off the ground, it'd be a single. Both feet off the ground, it'd be an extra base hit. Best description I ever heard, Mr. George Sisler used it. He said that Clemente was a good bad ball hitter, but he would be a better good ball hitter. But if he lost his aggressiveness, then the cure would be worse than a disease. Some kind of hitter, Mr. Clemente. Best way to pitch him, I guess, is to throw a fastball and then fan out, man. Fan out, because he's going to hit it somewhere. Hey, Sandy, it's time for our fantastic picks. But before we do, I want to ask you about the city of Pittsburgh, not so much the ball club. What is the feeling there? What's the attitude? They really souped up?
Joe, I think both the people and the weather is a lot brighter here in Pittsburgh today than we were 2 days ago.
Now, let's make these fantastic picks. I'm going to go with the Baltimore catcher. Hendricks is my star of the game.
If you're going to stick with the catchers, I think I'll have to stick with the pitchers. And as long as it's a left-hander and Dave McNally, I've got to go with McNally. And after seeing him a few times, how could you ever bet against him?
Okay, you got McNally, I got Hendricks, and it's time for game number 5. And Sandy and I will see you before game number 6 from Baltimore. Hey, Sandy, is it hot living in that little square? Oh, it is hot. Okay.
World World Series Report 71 has been brought to you by Texaco and the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. And now stay tuned following station identification for game number 5 of the 1971 World Series.
Yeah, that's where I was right now. He's coming out pretty soon. Hey, Rick. Gone. Gone. That's the one you saw. Like, gone.
Hey, Bert, has he got his mic muffled or behind his tie or something? It sounds peculiar.
Who's Mike?
Tony's. Is he cupping it with his hand when he's talking?
No. Well, maybe he was. I don't. Let me talk.
No, I'm not cupping with my hand.
He just covered it with his hand. He wasn't talking, that's why. That's all right. He was just checking. He's nervous. I can't blame him. Okay. Thanks, Tony. Thank you. He swallowed it, that's all.
Will Dr. Feingold please go to the commissioner's box? Dr. Feingold, wanted at the commissioner's box, please.
I feel that after 4 games, being 2-2 with the Pirates, and McNally and Jim Palmer, the 2 pitchers that have beaten them, coming up in order, that if we can contain Clemente, who's just been outstanding throughout the series, there might not be a ball game Sunday.
Well, I've been asked about the Pirates' chances for winning the series. You take our ball club that has been a decided underdog since the series winners were announced, and now we lose the first 2 ball games in Baltimore and bounce back and take the next 2. And now for the 6th and 7th game, if we need them, I have a young fellow named Bobby Moose and Steve Blass cranking up. And I say we got as good a chance as anybody because it's a 2 out of 3 game series, and I got 3 pretty good chuckers going for me.
And as you've heard, each manager highly confident. As NBC Sports, a service of NBC News, presents Game 5 of the 1971 World Series. The American League champions, the Baltimore Orioles, versus the National League champions, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Brought to you by the Dry Look. The wet head is dead. Long live the Dry Look. By Phillips 66, the performance company. At Phillips 66, it's performance that counts. and by Chrysler Corporation. Extra care in engineering. Your host today, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Hi, everybody. Kurt Gowdy of NBC Sports. Bob Prince, the broadcaster of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And down in the stands again, my partner on NBC's Game of the Week, Mr. Tony Kupek. And two 21-year-old rookies and a 37-year-old veteran are the toast of Pittsburgh. But it's a new game, and we'll probably have some new heroes. That's the way the series has progressed day by day. The Pirates are even now. This will be the last game in Pittsburgh. We have a traveling date tomorrow, and then we'll move into Baltimore Saturday and Sunday if needed. Now let's take a look at the starting pitchers of today's game. And Dave McNally is going to be on the mound for the Orioles. He won the opening game 5-3 with 9 strikeouts, a 21-game winner. And he has been a blue chipper in World Series competition. He has an earned run average under 2 in all the World Series he's pitched in. He's going to be opposed by a right-hander, Nelson Briles, who pitched well late in the season for the Pirates, winning 8 and losing 4. Briles had some difficulty with a pulled leg muscle in the playoffs, and he says, though, he's completely healed now. And I heard that statement, Bob Prince, that Danny Murtaugh made, said it's now 2 out of 3 for the World Series championship, and that he has 3 outstanding pitchers ready to go. Is Briles one of those?
Well, Briles would have to be one of them, Kurt, no question about that. Then if the Pirates could win today, he could then go with Johnson on Saturday and come back with Blass if necessary, or the reverse of that. If Baltimore takes the lead, come right back with Blass on Saturday. So he has his 3 pitchers ready to go. You know, there's one thing about Danny Murtaugh. He makes remarkable moves, and for no apparent reason, he'll switch off on certain players, and he doesn't worry at all about the second guess. And one good thing about him, if a player for him has a bad performance, such as Johnson had in the championship series, he came right back with him and got the clincher. And then the other day in Game 2 in Baltimore, he brought in young Bruce Keeson, 21 years of age. He walked the bases full, then threw another base on balls up there, walked in a run, and he was out of the ball game. And then came right back with him last night. Picked up a magnificent 6 in the 3rd innings of pitching out of Keeson, allowing 1 hit, issuing no outs. And now let's go down on the field to Tony Kubek.
Thank you. With me on the field, the guy they're saying is having an awful World Series as far as everything I've read and heard, Willie Stargell. And Willie, I checked the first 4-game box scores. You've been on base 9 times with walks and hits in the first 4 games. Is that a bad series?
Well, not as far as I'm concerned, Tony. The fact that I'm here in a World Series, something I've always dreamed of is, as long as I can recall. And now that I'm relaxed at the plate, I didn't do a thing in the playoffs, but we won, and that was the main thing. And now we're here, and we're doing some of the things that we feel that our club is capable of doing. And personally, like you say, I've been on base, and I would like to produce in some of the key situations, but hitting is either you do or you don't. And our team is, when someone doesn't do it, someone picks us up. And I just look forward to an exciting series, and hopefully I can perform a little more better.
Willie, you were talking to me yesterday about some of the encouragement, some of the fans around the country with letters and cards and everything else.
This is true, and I've been getting a lot of well-wishing from various people from around the country, and I'd like to take this time to thank everyone for their concern. I'm not going to give up on myself. I never will, and I'd like to thank the people for their concern and pulling for me, because it just indicates that there's a lot of fine people in the world.
Willie Stargell, thanks so much. Good luck.
Thank you, Tony.
Back upstairs.
We have a beautiful day again in Pittsburgh. The temperature is 67 degrees right now. It'll be going to 70. Just a slight breeze. We have some clouds overhead. The sun will be in and out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the starting lineups of the Orioles and the Pirates.
1971 World Series. Here are the official lineups, and let's give them a fine Pittsburgh welcome. First, the American League champion, Baltimore Orioles. Here is the manager of the Orioles, number 4, Earl Weaver. Batting first and playing left field, number 9, Don Buford. Batting second and playing center field, number 6, Paul Blair. Batting third and playing first base, number 26, Boog Howell. Batting fourth and playing right field, number 20, Frank Robinson. Batting fifth and catching, number 10, Elrod Hendricks. Batting sixth and playing third base, number 5, Brooks Robinson. Batting seventh and playing second base, number 15, Dave Johnson. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 7, Mark Belanger. Batting ninth and pitching, number 19, Dave McNally, who is warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Baltimore Orioles. Now for the National League champion Pittsburgh Pirates. Here is the manager of the Pirates, number 40, Danny Murtaugh. Batting first and playing second base, number 30, Dave Cash. Batting second and playing center field, number 15, Gene Clines. Batting third and playing right field, number 21, Roberto Clemente. Batting fourth and playing left field, number 8, Willie Stargell. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 7, Bob Robertson. Batting sixth and catching, number 35, Manny Sanguillen. Batting seventh and playing third base, number 11, Jose Pagan. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 2, Jack Hernandez. Batting ninth and pitching, number 34, Nelson Briles, who is warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, which will be sung by Jill Corey.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Jill Corey Hope, the widow of the late Don Hope, who played with the Pirates here in the 1960 World Series. The umpires are at home plate, and now we're going to have the ceremonial first pitch for Game 5. The honor goes. That's Warren Giles, the former president of the National League, and Phil Patton, the president of the minor leagues of baseball. Now, who's going to throw it out? Mr. Giles presenting it to Phil Patton. Congratulates him. And there it is. Caught by Manny Sanguillen. This fifth game of the 1971 World Series being brought to you from Pittsburgh as the Baltimore Orioles meet the Pittsburgh Pirates.
You're doing the first 4 minutes. All right. I want to do it. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. Game 5 just about to get underway, and today's umpires at home plate, Jim Odom. At first base, John Kibler. At second base, Nestor Shylock. At third base, Ed Sudol. In left field, John Rice. And in right field, Ed Bargo. The Pirates will be taking the field momentarily and will break from their dugout on the first base side. It is 340 down both lines here, 385 right center, left center, and 410 straight away. And as Kurt Gowdy has told you, it is a perfectly magnificent day for this fifth game, which of course means so much to both ball clubs. And this will be the last game played here in the 1971 series, as the Orioles and the Pirates will now journey them to Baltimore. And the Pirates now take the field. Now defensively for Pittsburgh, in left field, Wilbur Stargell. Manager Murtaugh has gone to Gene Klein's in center with McNally pitching. In right field, Roberto Clemente. They switch at third, back to Jose Pagan. Jackie Hernandez will play short. Dave Cash at second base. Bobby Robertson at first base. Behind the plate, Manny Sanguillen. And on the mound, Nelson Browse. On the year, had a record of 8-4. So game 5 is set to go here. And the crowd still continuing to file in, as Don Buford will be set to step in. And as you watch Nelson Browse here in slow motion on his warm-ups, basically comes over the top, has a palm ball, slider, and a curve, and occasionally will throw the sinker. Here to carry on in the broadcast, the voice of NBC Sports, Kurt Gowdy.
Thank you, Bob Prince. Don Buford, Paul Blair, Boog Powell are going to be the first 3 batters up. Buford in the series has 2 hits in 13 times. He had a home run in Baltimore. He's knocked in 2 runs. A .290 batter for the season. Jose Pagan plays him tight at third. Buford's a good bunter. And the outfield straight away. Hernandez, the Pirate shortstop, has been shading all these left-handed hitters over toward second and has been playing Hendricks and Powell in back of the bag. Here's our first pitch of Game 5, and it's foul back. Nelson Briles, 28 years old, lives in St. Louis, born in Doris, California. High and away. Won 6, lost 7 last year. This year he won 8 and lost 4. He attended Santa Clara University and Chico State College. A 1-1 delivery. A high pop. Hernandez, the shortstop, calling for it. 1 down. Paul Blair has had 3 hits and 5 times up. Blair hit .262 on the year. 10 homers, 44 runs batted in. Blair being played to left, and the third baseman Pagan still playing shallow. That one's fouled into the seats because Blair also is an excellent bunter. Went after a curve. No balls, 2 strikes to Paul Blair. Briles had a good finish this season. Struck him out on the curve. Dropped the ball behind the plate. 0-2. That's in there. Like Blair was waiting for the curve again, and he pumped the fastball right through. 2 down. Boog Powell has had only 1 hit in 15 times. .256. Seasonal hitter with 22 homers, 92 runs batted in. Briles started 5 times in September, won 3 and lost 1. Pitched 3 complete games during the last month. A ball to Powell with 2 away, nobody on, and the shift on against the big left-hander. 3 infielders on the right side, the outfield deep and swung around toward right. No score, top of the first inning. Hits it to the box. And there's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Nelson Briles. So in the middle of the first, the score, Baltimore nothing, and the Pirates coming to bat. And here's the way the Orioles line up defensively. Buford's in left. Blair's in center. Frank Robinson in right. Brooks Robinson at third. Mark Belanger at short. Second baseman will be Dave Johnson. Boog Powell at first. The catcher is Ellie Hendricks. and Dave McNally, the starting pitcher today for the Orioles. Dave McNally, as you study him, had maybe his best fastball of the season in the opening game of the World Series when he struck out his seasonal high, 9. Instead of starting him last night, they wanted him to have another day's rest to keep that good fastball he had. And the fastball is outside. 1-0 to Dave Cash, who's had 3 hits in 17 times. Knocked in a run and batted .289 for the year. Ball 2. In that opening World Series game, McNally struck out 9, walked 2, gave up just 3 hits. 2 of the 3 hits by Roberto Clemente. The 2-0 pitch. 3-0. This is the 7th World Series start for McNally. He's won 3 World Series games, lost 1, with a World Series pitching average of 1.99. The strike. He won the 4th and final game of the '66 series, 1-0. This is the 7th World Series start for McNally. He's won 3 World Series games, lost 1, with a World Series pitching average of 1.99. The strike. He won the 4th and final game of the '66 series, 1-0. Against the Dodgers on the home run by Frank Robinson. The 3-1 delivery, and he walks Dave Cash. McNally lost the 2nd game of the '69 series to the Mets 2-1. He pitched a complete game, was beaten by Koosman, and he won the 3rd game of the World Series last year. A complete game victory, 9-3. One stretch of the first game against the Pirates, McNally retired 19 in a row. So he walks the first batter here today. There it is, hit to the box. McNally goes to Belanger for 1. Belanger on, safe at first. Gene Klein's the fastest runner on the Pirate Ball Club. Beat the throw to first.
You'll see a little bit of an off-balance throw here as McNally had to come up with it, and there you saw the toss to the third base side of second, and that just took away the opportunity to get Mr. Klein's.
Right now, here has been the outstanding player of the series, Roberto Clemente. Clemente has 8 hits and 17 times up for an average of .471. The only player who's hit safely in every game of the series. And he's hit safely now in every World Series game he's played in the 1960 series and the 1971 series. Most of his hits have been to right field, but he slapped a couple through the box. There goes the runner. The hit and run is on and it's fouled off. He hit one and beat it out to the shortstop last night. Gene Klein's at first base, who stole 15 bases out of 21 attempts this season as a part-time player.
And, Kurt, that's the first time in this series the Pirates have started right off with a hit-and-run play of that nature. Murtaugh may be trying to establish an early pattern as we watch it now on the split screen.
They've been playing very aggressively here in Pittsburgh. The 1-strike pitch. Foul ball. 0-2. A bright sun today. No score, last of the first inning. Gene Klein's at first, 1 out. There's a drive to right field. Frank Robinson going back, and has it right up against the wall. Clemente nearly reached the wall in right field with that one.
Very fine play by Robinson, running off to the left there, as you see, just about running out of track. A little bit of a breeze blowing out toward left. But Robinson made a remarkable play there, Kurt.
He certainly did, as Willie Stargell steps in with 2 down now. Gene Klein's at first and no score. They have a big banner hung up there in the facade in the upper tier in right field. Ball 1, Stargellville, a long way from home. And he's hit a couple of shots up there. There it is. And number 1 is the first one he hit in this park, and the first player to hit one in that upper tier. Nally's throw. Gene Klein's with Boog Powell holding against him. Stargell has 3 hits in 12 times. Batting average of .250, but he's walked 6 times. Foul out of play and back at third. Ball and a strike to Willie Stargell. Dave McNally. A lot of folks in Montana interested in this World Series game today. Dave was born in Billings. There goes the runner. It's a swing and a miss. Hendricks' throw is not in time, and the Pirates are running on the Baltimore catchers.
You'll see this time, McNally really comes with a good pitch that Stargell misses, and a little bit of a problem there as Hendricks had to take that ball down low. And Klein's with great speed. Watch him dig now, and running straight in there in a quick look to see which way the throw's coming, and he determines he can go straight in.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Willie Stargell. Gene Klein's at second. 2 down. Just outside with a fastball. Pirates now have stolen 3 bases in the series. The Orioles do not have a steal. Klein's at second. This will be a 2-2 pitch coming up to Willie Stargell. There's a bounty ball to shortstop Belanger. And that's it, as the Pirates are out in the last of the first inning. They had no runs, no hits, there were no errors, a 1-man left. At the end of the first inning, it's the Orioles nothing and the Pirates nothing.
Allen.
Now. Oh, 40. Billy Hunter coaching at third for the Orioles. George Stoller at first. Nelson Briles is the 5th starting pitcher in this World Series for the Pirates. The last time that a World Series team used 5 different starters in the first 5 games was back in 1955 when the Dodgers, in 6 games, actually used 6 starters. They had Newcomb, Billy Lowe, Johnny Podres, Carl Erskine, Roger Craig, Carl Spooner. Podres started the 7th game and won. Frank Robinson checks a swing on a curve. Ball 1 to him. Robinson batting .500 in this series, 7 hits and 14 times. 2 homers, 2 runs batted in. That's hit to third, foul to Jose Pagan. Frank Robinson actually is the leading percentage hitter in the series. The Orioles have 4 homers so far in this series. The Pirates have 2. They're just about even in runs. Now the Orioles have 20 runs and the Pirates 15. Base hits are about even. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Robinson. In the first 4 games, Pittsburgh had 32 hits, and the Orioles had 31 hits. Ellie Hendricks will be on deck, and then Brooks Robinson. Foul ball, and Pagan is guarding that third base line against Robinson. Pirates have used shifts, and when they move those men around either right or left, they really move them around, Bob.
They certainly do, and they make no bones about it. As we said earlier at the head of the show here, Murtaugh makes moves, and they usually turn out to be right.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Frank Robinson. Nelson Briles' pitch. And there's trouble. That one blooping down. Going back is Bob Robertson to take it and foul down. 1 away. Telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the expressed written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Ellie Hendricks, hitting in the number 5 spot for the Orioles, has had 3 hits in 10 times. Hit .250 in 1971. And again, a shift on against Hendricks as the Pirates put 3 infielders on the right side and swing their outfield well around to right. No score in this game. A fly ball out to center fielder Gene Kleins. Puts it away for the second out. Nelson Briles now has set down the first 5 men. This is not Nelson Briles' first World Series appearance. He pitched in 4 games and had 3 starts for the Cardinals in the 1967-68 series. 67 when the Cardinals played the Red Sox, and 68 when they went against the Tigers. Brooks Robinson, low and away to him. Brooks has 5 hits in 13 times for an average of .385. Has knocked in 4 runs. He and Retman are the leaders in RBIs in the Oriole team. Fouled away. A ball and a strike to Brooks Robinson. There are 2 down. Nobody on. Top of the second and no score. Just a little high. 2-1. Some observers thought the Orioles may have been taking too many pitches the last 2 games. The 2-1 pitch. Robinson lines it into center. A solid base hit. Grabbed on a hop by Gene Kleins. And Brooks Robinson has his 6th World Series hit. First hit of this game, Dave Johnson. 3 hits in 15 times, an average of 200. He's been going up a point a year. 2 years ago, he hit .280. 1970, he hit .281. This year, he hit .282. It's going to take him a long time to get to 300 that way. A strike. He'll be the oldest 300 hitter in the history of baseball. Very steady ball player. Talk to the Orioles about him. They appreciate him. Brooks Robinson at first, 2 down. Lofts a high fly into left center. The shortstop Hernandez out. Center fielder Klein coming in. And Klein got out of the way wisely. It's always easier for that man coming on to make the grab. No runs for the Orioles. 1 hit. There were no errors and 1 left. We've got an inning and a half with the score. Baltimore nothing and Pittsburgh nothing. locked it in yet.
How's this mic, Lou? All right? This one I'm using? Coaches.
Frank Osiak coaching at third for Pittsburgh. Don Leppard at first. Bob Robertson starts it off for the Pirates in the last of the second. Robertson, 2 hits and 14 times. One of those hits, a 3-run homer. There's a long blast in the deep center. That one is way back, and it is gone.
In a moment, and he'll get the sweet end of the bat right on it. Striding forward with those very powerful legs and brings it right in there, and he just gets right on the money with this one. Drives it almost dead center field. And Blair, who does play a very shallow center field to begin with, just had a little longer run to go back and watch it drop in there as Danny Murtaugh very casually, and I guess Kurt enjoys a 1-0 lead.
Yes, and a banner or something has dropped off now in left center, and time is called while they pick it up. Bob Robertson, a native of the state of Maryland, was a shot putter in high school and threw the shot over 50 feet. Strong boy who now has hit 6 home runs in postseason play. He had 4 homers in the playoffs, 3 in 1 game against the Giants, and he's now had 2 World Series home runs. So the Pirates lead 1-0, last of the second. Manny Sanguillen, 5 hits and 17 times, hitting .294 in this series. A ball to Sanguillen. Sanguillen got off to a slow start in the series, but the last 2 games he's been on base. McNally way out of the strike zone, 2-0, and Hendricks decides he better have a chat with him. A traveling day tomorrow, an open date, the World Series, Game 6, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. Jim Palmer will go for sure for the Orioles. There's a base hit by Sanguillen in the center. Sanguillen had 2 hits last night, had a couple of hits here in Game 3. He's starting to warm up with that bat. Jose Pagan has had 2 hits and 8 times in this series. Sanguillen on first. McNally keeping him close. Nobody out, and the Pirates ahead 1-0. Breaking pitch, 0-1 to Pagan. Pitch out. Sanguillen stole the base last night. Hendricks thought the Pirates might have a play on. Jose Pagan is 36 years old, born, lives in Puerto Rico. His 17th professional baseball season. A pop. Foul territory. And right between Dave Johnson and Boog Powell, who, as you saw, both lost their caps.
You can imagine when Boog Powell went lumbering down that sideline there. That might have been about a 6 on the Richter. That baby was really lumbering down there. He's some kind of big.
Good, those big guys are always gentle.
Thank goodness.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 2-2. Speaking of big guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers were out here today, and you know they worked out yesterday on the afternoon of a World Series game. They put adhesive tape on this artificial turf for yard lines and then tore the tape off and left the field for the World Series. That's something to have a football team work out in the afternoon and then a World Series game to be played that night. 2-2 to Jose Pagan. Foul ball over in the Oriole dugout. And as we've told you, Sanguillen, a catcher, can run. He's at first. He stole 6 bases out of 10 attempts this year. Two and two to Pagan. 3-2.
Mr. Rickey always had a very good phrase to describe a runner like Sanguillen. Rather adventuresome, sometimes too much so on the base paths.
He was last night. All right, let's see if they start him now. 3-2 count. There he goes. And it's strike 3. Hendricks throw. And he's safe. Sanguillen has stolen second. And the Pirates have stolen 4 bases the last 2 games.
All right, watch Sanguillen now as he digs. This is a low throw coming in, and Johnson was the man covering on the play. Now you can watch him all alone here as he comes in. It's a bang-bang play right there at second. But his foot is in there, and the tag is up on the knee.
The catcher Sanguillen now has stolen 2 bases in the series. Jackie Hernandez up. Sanguillen on second, 1 down. Pirates ahead 1-0. A strike to Hernandez, who has 2 hits and 8 times. Briles, the pitcher, scheduled up behind him. Hernandez hitting number 8. Curve is over. Strike 2. 0-2. Dave McNally, the only American League pitcher since Red Ruffing in the 1930s to win 20 or more games 4 years in a row. This year he won 21 and lost 5. Struck him out on a bad pitch. 2 down. And Briles, the Pirate pitcher, coming up. Not a bad hitter for a pitcher. Lifetime National League batting average of 144. Hit a couple of career home runs, both at Philadelphia. Sanguillen's at second, 2 down. Pittsburgh leading 1-0 last of the second. Curved him for a strike. In the last 4 seasons of Major League Baseball, the 2 top winners have been Dave McNally and Ferguson Jenkins of the Cubs. They've each won 87 games the last 4 years. Strike 2 in a curve. 0-2. Many people compare McNally to the former Yankee great Whitey Ford in their style of pitching. Foul ball. 0-2 to Nelson Briles. Sanguillen, number 35, with his back to you at second base. There are 2 outs. A ball and 2 strikes. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Hendricks said he swung. Umpire Odom says no. 2-2. The on-deck batter, Dave Cash, leadoff man in the Pirate batting order. A line shot to center. Around third is Sanguin. He scores. And the Pirates lead 2-0.
The end of the bat, a little bit of a dunker, and even though Blair was playing shallow, no chance at all, and Sanguin, as you see, sliding to make certain he gets in there to make it 2-0 Pittsburgh.
Pirates scored all their runs last night after 2 out, and here are 2 outs today in Briles' single after Robertson led off with a home run in this inning. And McNally had Briles 2 strikes and then lost him. So Briles was on first, 2 away, and Dave Cash the batter. He walked his first time. A curve for a strike. Well, the Pirates now have had 3 hits, as many as they got in the entire first game against Dave McNally over at Baltimore. The 0-1 pitch is hit to Brooks Robinson, who gloves it over to Johnson, and that's it. Force out on Briles. But the Pirate fans give him a hand. 2 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 2 innings in Pittsburgh, the Pirates 2, the Orioles nothing.
Then you want to go Sunday, huh? I think just for a walk-on part. I understand it. The rest of it goes to the Garagiola Today show.
Go back over there on Saturday where you can really go loose.
On the radio. Well, you don't care what. Just throwaways on radio, huh?
Sunday, we'll either have Game 7 of the World Series, followed by NFL football, Cleveland at Cincinnati or San Diego at Denver. Or if the World Series is over on Saturday, there'll be an NFL football doubleheader. The early games will be Baltimore against the Giants in New York, Buffalo against the Jets in New York, New England playing at Miami. And then, if it's an all-football doubleheader, the second game will be Cleveland at Cincinnati or San Diego at Denver. Either way, a big sports doubleheader on NBC Sunday afternoon. And remember, Game 6 of the World Series, Saturday. Mark Belanger, as the French call him up in the western part of Massachusetts. 3 hits and 14 times in this series with an average of .214. Nelson Briles bends it in for a strike. So far, Briles has looked very good for the Pirates. Foul back. 0-2. Briles was traded by the St. Louis Cardinals to Pittsburgh along with Vic Davalillo for Matty Alou and George Brunette in January of 1971. A ball and 2 strikes to Mark Belanger. The on-deck batter is the Oriole pitcher, Dave McNally. There's a fly ball in the right field. Clemente drawing a beat on it, puts it away. One out for the Orioles in the top of the third. Dave McNally has hit 2 World Series homers. Shares the World Series record for home runs by a pitcher with Bob Gibson. Last year he became the first pitcher who ever hit a Grand Slam homer. Hit it off Wayne Granger of Baltimore. Strike 1 to McNally. Pirates ahead 2-0. We're in the third. Strike 2. You know, it couldn't have happened, but Bob, we could have had a forfeited game today. The Oriole uniforms didn't arrive back from the dry cleaners till 11 o'clock this morning. They're all sitting in the clubhouse waiting for their uniforms to be returned. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, they have similar uniforms outside of Boog Powell. They could have borrowed perhaps the Pittsburgh Pirate traveling gray and used those had it been necessary.
1 out, nobody on. The 1-2 pitch to Dave McNally. He pops it up. The second baseman of the Pirates, Dave Cash, handles it for out number 2. Now the top of the order, switch hitting Don Buford. He popped up his first time. Two runs, 3 hits for the Pirates, no runs, 1 hit for the Orioles. One to nothing to Don Buford. The Orioles got 3 runs in the first inning last night. A 1-1 count. They have been shut out since. They have now gone 10 2/3 innings without a run off the Pirate pitching. Bluffed the bunt. He brought Pagan charging in from third. It's ball 2, strike 1 to Don Buford with Paul Blair on deck. Riles goes 3-1 on him. Full count. 2 down, nobody on. Three-two pitch. Pagan picks it up, throws him out. And another 1-2-3 inning for Nelson Bob. At the end of 2.5 innings in Pittsburgh, our score is the Pirates 2 and the Orioles nothing. Gene Kleins, Roberto Clemente, and Willie Stargell facing Dave McNally in the last of the third. Attempting to bunt and a foul ball. Kleins bounced into a force play his first time. To join us late, the Pirates scored their 2 runs in the second. A home run by Bob Robertson over the center field wall. Nelson Bryles singled in Manny Sanguillen, who had singled and stolen second. Ball 1, strike 1. The Orioles have not had a man to second yet. A high and outside fastball makes the count 2-1 to Gene Kleins. And McNally missing again with that fastball. 3-1. Getting his curve over better than he has his fastball, Bob.
No question about that, and the Pirates perhaps have noticed that and laying off that fastball and waiting to try to hit a curveball strike.
It was a fastball that McNally was getting most of his strikeouts on in Baltimore. 3-1 pitch. There's a good one. 3-2. McNally on the disabled list in the middle of the season. Walked Gene Kleins. George Carlin, Sugar Ray Robinson, Pat Boone, and special guest Herbie, the Good Time Ice Cream Man, are Flip's guests on the Flip Wilson Show tonight, right here on NBC. Earl Weaver, who wore a, well, you can't wear a path in that artificial turf, I guess, but he was out there plenty of times last night to the mound. The Pirates, a non-walking team. They don't walk too much. They've received 22 walks from a pitching staff which normally has excellent control. Roberto Clemente hit a long drive to right field that Frank Robinson grabbed right in front of the right field wall in the first inning. In our tease that we opened today's show with, you heard the Oriole manager Earl Weaver said, we've got to contain Clemente if we're going to win the series. We're not doing that. He made no bones about it. Clemente had 2 hits off McNally in the first game. Diving back was Kleins. And then he had a hit in game 3. He had 2 hits in game 2 and 3 hits last night, and there's a strike to him.
Tell you one thing, Kurt. Clemente has great bat control off the right side of that diamond, and we can be alert as we see some action in the Baltimore bullpen.
That's Dave Leonard.
Be alert to some running here and hitting.
1-1. When they pitched Clemente inside, they really moved the ball way inside on him. Pirates leading 2-0. Gene Kleins at first. Nobody out. Foul back. That's Willie Stargell waiting to come up next. One-two pitch. There goes the runner. Pounding ball to short. Belanger will have to hurry. It's there in time. And then he puts the heat on that defense.
The Pirates, Kurt, have always been a firm believer since the days of Dick Groat of hitting and running on a 1-ball, 2-strike count. And Clemente, of course, there getting some piece of the ball and no play, as you saw, anywhere but at first.
Gene Klein's now at second, one away. Willie Stargell grounded a short his first time. Foul back. Dave Johnson plays Stargell deep at second, a step or two off the infield dirt. And you see Boog Powell right on the first base line. Pirates ahead, 2-0, last of the third. One ball, one strike. The Pirates left 41 men in the first 4 games. If this had been a 4-game series, that would have been an all-time record. 37 was the previous record for men left on base in 4 games. McNally's 1-1 pitch. A high fly ball out to Buford and left. He has room. Kleins is tagging at second and is not coming. The throw comes into Belanger. 2 down. Gene Kleins at second. Bob Robertson getting a hand. He hammered a home run in the second inning.
You know, Kurt, earlier you showed where Stargell hit one up on the facade in right field. They have a similar mark for the 4th time a ball been hit out there in left field where Bobby Robertson hit one. He's the only man to do that in the left field side.
There it is. Boy, that's a real shot, isn't it? As we drop back with our camera, you can see just how high that is out there. Bob Robertson's had just 3 hits in this series, but 2 of them have been homers. One to nothing to Robertson. Kleins at second, 2 down. Bluffed him back. Hit down to Brooks Robinson. Makes the throw. And an unusual sight. Brooks Robinson bobbling a ball hit right at him. And he couldn't find a handle to recover. They're safe at first and third, and Robinson is charged with an error. The Orioles now have made 9 errors in this series. The Pirates have made just 1.
And that's the last place where you would expect Baltimore to spring a leak. Here it is again. It was a hard-hit ball coming off that turf, and it ran up Brooks's arm. And then, as you see there, he just couldn't find the handle, and the throw is going to pull Boog Powell off the bag. Otherwise, he still might have gotten Bobby Robertson, who's not that fast a runner.
That's Brooks Robinson's 2nd error in the series. Runners on first and third. A curve drops over to Sanguillen, who singled to center his first time. So the Pirates have another threat without benefit of a hit here in the last of the third. Kleins at third, Robertson at first. Long smash, that is foul. Ooh. Boy, he tied into that one. He doesn't hit many home runs during a year. He hit 7. When Sanguillen hits the ball, it's usually vicious line drives or sharp blows back through the box. Two strikes to Manny Sanguillen. 2 down, runners on first and third. A ball and 2 strikes to him. And Dave Leonard is still warming up in the Baltimore bullpen. Gets away. Coming in to score is Kleins. Down to second is Robertson. A breaking pitch in the dirt that bounced almost up on top of the screen behind the plate. And the Pirates lead 3-0. It has been scored a wild pitch against Dave McNally. A walk, an error, and a wild pitch.
This isn't Baltimore's type of game, Kurt. I'm sure of that.
Combined to give the Pirates another run. Robertson at second. The 2-2 pitch, strike three. Sanguillen is caught looking. In the last of the third, 1 run for Pittsburgh. No hits. 1 Baltimore error, a costly one. 1 man left. At the end of 3, Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore nothing.
If Sanguillen hits a home,
Lou, how's it going? Yeah. You want to quit school? Read the want ads first. Prince and I are. You'll find that most employers look for high school graduates and get them, because 7 out of 10 people hunting for jobs have finished high school. If you're in school, you better stay there. If you've quit, see your state employment service or youth opportunity center. To get a good job, get a good education. 4th inning. Paul Blair, Boog Powell, Frank Robinson. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Pirates, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error for Baltimore. Blair struck out his first time, and he hits a high, lazy fly into right field. There's Clemente, and there's 1 down. Boog Powell bounced to the pitcher his first time.
normally throughout the season, like Willie Mays, Clemente would not play in a day game following a night game due to his age. I rather imagine he didn't even bother to look at the starting lineup card today.
Line drive, cut by the second baseman, Dave Cash. And the Pirates now are doing everything right, and the Orioles everything wrong.
Here's a fine timed leap by Dave Cash. He could have gone up prematurely on that one, but just timed it beautifully, as you see right there. And you're right, Kurt. So far, nothing has gone right for the Orioles, and it's about a turnaround of what happened the other way with the Pirates in Baltimore.
Frank Robinson fouled out his first time. Quickly 2 down for Baltimore. Nobody on. A ball to Robinson, who wants the umpire, Jim Odom, to take a look at the ball, and a new one is tossed in. Frank Robinson, the only man to be voted the most valuable player in the National League, and then the most valuable player in the American League. Some achievement. One ball, 1 strike. Fouls it back. 1-2 to Frank Robinson. 2 away, nobody on. 3-0 Pittsburgh in the top of the 4th. Foul again.
Murtaugh has one thing that he does and has done all through his managerial career, Kurt. I mean, he will never play a player unless he's 100% physically fit, and it seems thus far to be playing off here with Bryles.
Robinson held up the count 2-2. You saw Ellie Hendricks on deck. Free and easy right now, Danny. Three and two. Both these managers respected the other and the other's ball club. Earl Weaver said, we're going to have a tough time of it in Pittsburgh. That's Earl. Said they're a difficult club to beat at home. Struck him out and he fell down. He does that for no reason. He can't explain it himself. Sometimes he just collapses after a pitch. 3 up, 3 down. At the end of 3.5 innings, Pittsburgh 3 and Baltimore nothing.
Good. Right on. I think we're doing all right. Fine, buddy.
Now, a word on behalf of Major League Baseball. Bob Gibson of the Cardinals, Dave Roberts, the San Diego Padres' fine young pitcher, will head a group of Major League stars on a tour of the U.S. hospital bases in Hawaii, Guam, the Philippines, and Japan. Nettles of the Indians and Danny Frisella of the New York Mets. The trip is sponsored by the USO with the cooperation of the Baseball Commissioner's Office. Jose Pagan struck out his first time. Dave McNally's pitch. Curve is wide. 1-0. Henderson scheduled up behind Pagan, and then Nelson Bryles, the bottom third of the Pirate batting order. Line drive to left. Buford plays it on a hop. Fires in. 4th hit for Pittsburgh.
I think as we saw there, Kurt, Buford played that ball just a little peculiarly. He's alert to the fact that a ball hitting in front of him can bounce over his head, and he just might have been a little wary on that one.
Jackie Hernandez struck out his first time. Had the bunt on, ball 1. Dave Leonard warming up again. He was up 4 or 5 times last night. Second time he's been loosening up today. Runner going with a hit and run on its foul back, and we're going to pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. And back here in Pittsburgh, Kurt Gowdy, Bob Prince, and Tony Kubek. With the score, Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore nothing, last to the 4th inning. Jose Pagan at first, nobody out. 1-1 pitch to Hernandez. It's over. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bryles, fired pitchers, coming up next. Two and 2 count. Jim Palmer will pitch for the Orioles Saturday. I guess it'll be either Bob Moose or Steve Blass for the Pirates.
And he's thinking a little bit about Bob Johnson, too.
Bob Johnson, too? Murtaugh doesn't announce too far in advance who he's going with. Weaver comes right out with his pitching plans. 2-2 pitch. 3-2 to Hernandez.
I think Murtaugh was a little piqued at some of the reporters asking him why he just got a feeling about his lineup. Danny didn't have a feeling. He just has never done that at any time in his career. Just puts his lineup when he's good and ready up on the board.
Pagan at first. McNally trying to keep him close. Be about $18,000 per man for the winning team in this World Series, around $14,000 for the losers. A 3-2 count to Hernandez. Pagan at first, nobody out. There goes Pagan, and there's a base hit into center. Pagan rounding second. Here's the throw from Paul Blair. Right on the button. He's out at third. Pagan running on the pitch is thrown out, and a perfect throw by Paul Blair to Brooks Robinson.
I think we'll see if it's on our picture here as the ball goes between his legs. Pagan slows up going into second, and that loss of momentum there was just no contest. Look what I got waiting for you. Now watch Pagan as he comes around second. He slowed up a little teeny bit. Then he just started to look like he was running out of gas, and that's not the slow motion. He just ran out of petrol. That's all there was with that.
Now Pagan still gets a hand from the partisan Pirate fans as he goes into their dugout. Hernandez is on first. 2 solid hits off Dave McNally here for the Pirates in the last of the 4th. Riles single to drive in a run in the second. And he bunts. It's a fair ball. The throw goes to Dave Johnson, the second baseman, covering it first from the catcher, Ellie Hendricks. A sacrifice for Riles. Hernandez now in scoring position at second. Top of the order, and Dave Cash, who's walked and bounced into a force play. Pittsburgh ahead 3-0. If you just joined us, 2 runs for the Pirates in the second. They picked up another run in the third. Baltimore has not had a man to second base so far.
Murtaugh's done a lot of switching here in this inning, Kurt. He had Pagan on a bunt play try there with Hernandez up. Then he was running and hitting, and now he switches back and goes for the bunt again.
Ball 1 to Dave Cash. Curve is over. I'd have to say that Hernandez has been one of the surprises of this series.
Well, he certainly has, and certainly a surprise throughout the season. He was just, many people thought, a throw-in on the trade that brought him in from Kansas City, and with Allie injured, he stepped in and did a remarkable job throughout the entire season.
Allie pitching 1-1 to Cash. Hits a ground ball to short. A long throw here by Belanger from the hole. It's in time. Fine pickup by Boog Powell at first. That's the throw they rate shortstops on from the hole. No runs. 2 hits for Pittsburgh. There were no errors. They left 1. At the end of 4 innings, the score, Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore 0. Now, we're showing you the coaches here at first and third throughout the series. I think we should mention the other coaches that perhaps you haven't seen on camera. George Bamberger, of course, is in the hospital over in Baltimore recovering from a heart attack. He's been the pitching coach of the Orioles. And the other Oriole coach is Jim Fry for Pittsburgh. Now and then you've seen Bill Burden seated alongside Murtaugh in the Pirate dugout. Dan Osborne is the pitching coach of the Pirates, and Dave Ricketts is the other Pirate coach. Ellie Hendricks in the 5th inning for the Orioles, followed by Brooks Robinson and Dave Johnson. Nelson Briles has stopped the Orioles so far on 1 hit. He has struck out 2. He's not walked anyone. Low to Hendricks for a ball. Hendricks fly to center field his first time. The Orioles now have gone 12 innings without a score after they came up with 3 runs in the first inning last night. Ball 2, 2-0. A shift on again for Hendricks. He purposely went to left field the day before yesterday and got himself a single through the shortstop hole. Fires the fastball right in there. 2-1. Briles spent only 1 year in the minors back in '64. Fouled away. He's been used both ways. He started 132 times in his career, and he's relieved 139 times. Two and two to Hendricks. Nobody on, nobody out. Normally has good control, as he's showing today. This year he walked 2.3 batters every 9 innings he pitched. Now he goes 3-2 to Hendricks. The on-deck batter is Brooks Robinson. 3-0 Pittsburgh. Hendricks is on. The first walk issued by Briles. And the man that has the only hit off Briles is Brooks Robinson, who's standing in. He's single to center in the 2nd inning. Frank Robinson with 7 hits. Brooks Robinson with 6 hits. Now lead the Orioles. Clemente with 8 hits leads the series. Ball 1. Top of the 5th inning. If you just joined us, the Pirates are leading the Orioles 3-0. Baltimore has a runner on first. Hendricks, nobody out. A strike. 1-1. You see Robertson playing off the bag. There's a ground ball to Hernandez. Force there. Cash on. Double play. Hendricks tried to take him out.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Hernandez really made a fine play in the hole over here on the off-balance snap throw. And then Cash coming across that bag just did bail out. And if anybody got injured a teeny bit there, Hendricks. He's limping a little bit. Now watch this play as Hendricks is coming in here trying to get Cash, who's pivoting away from him.
Wonder if he stepped on his left hand, because Hendricks came in. There's a fly ball down the left field line by Dave Johnson. Willie Stargell says, I've got it, and he does. And the Orioles are out in the 5th. No runs, no hits, there were no errors, or nobody left. We've gone halfway, and the score, Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore 0. that's Baltimore reason.
Okay.
I'll get on, let him sit with Bob. What are you doing? What did I tell you? Don't do that way, Bob.
All right, but I... Yeah.
Now we're coming to the Pirate half the fifth inning with Gene Kleins, Roberto Clemente, and Willie Stargell. The Pirates picked up 2 runs in the second. Robertson had a homer. Sanguillen single, stole second, scored on Briles' single. In the third, Kleins walked. Went to second on a ground ball. An error by Brooks Robinson in third on Bob Robertson, put runners in first and third, and then Kleins scored on a wild pitch. Dave McNally against Nelson Briles. Ellie Hendricks appears to be all right now. He's coming back of the plate. He was flexing his left hand when he came in after that collision at second base. But now for the play-by-play, the voice of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Bob Prince.
Thank you very much, Kurt Gowdy, and hello again, everybody. Gene Kleins reached base safely both times in the first inning on a force play, walked in the third. Ball 1. Scored in that third inning and came in on a wild pitch. Straight away in the outfield, basically. McNally that time going to his fastball. The Orioles really have not thrown too much in the way of surprises defensively to the Pirates. 1 ball, 1 strike. On deck, Roberto Clemente. Kleins apparently doesn't agree with that one too much. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And it's hit deep to left center field, and Blair's going to have to really hustle for this one. That's extra bases. He's going to try for 3. They don't even make the throw.
Belanger hesitated in getting rid of that ball. Might have had a play on him. We'll never know. Paul Blair, who plays a very shallow center field, and Clemente is now coming up. Kleins hit that ball a long way, right on the warning track. Now watch the ball come into Belanger. And he seems undecided whether to go on to third with it. Well, we don't get him in that shot, and that's Kleins hitting the dirt. Well, the Pirates now have a runner on third, no outs, and the Orioles now have to pull the infield in with Clemente up.
And Bobby Clemente, who has hit safely in every World Series game in which he has participated, 7 in 1960 and 4 thus far, is looking for his first hit. He lined deep to right field, and he grounded out to short. And back to the middle. A gone in infield cost him a run. Clemente wasting no time, right back through the middle on the drawn in infield. That's his 9th hit in 19 or 20 at-bats, and he has now hit safely, Kurt Gowdy, in every World Series game as Earl Weaver comes out to the mound.
And the Pirates have stung McNally today. 3 hits in the second, 2 base hits in the fourth, a triple and a single here in the fifth. They have been more aggressive at the plate here in Pittsburgh than the Orioles. And Earl Weaver's now decided that he's going to make a pitching change. So the Pirates knocked Dave McNally out. Dave Leonard will be coming in, and while we have a break in the action here at Pittsburgh, the score now is Pittsburgh 4 and Baltimore nothing.
Okay. Identify the new pitcher down to Tony. Roger.
10-0.
Dave Leonard is now on the mound. He's 29 years of age. We'll tell you more about him in a moment. Right now, let's go down to Tony Kubek.
Kurt Gowdy, in one of our earlier telecasts of World Series play, mentioned scouting reports, and of course they're very confidential. We have not seen them, but I've got to believe that the scouting report on Dave McNally was he's a good breaking ball pitcher, does not have an exceptional fastball. In the first ball game when he struck out 9, he displayed a great fastball. He knew today that he would have to come in with a good curveball. He struggled with it, just couldn't get it over, and we saw what happened. On the other hand, and Bob Prince, you can fill us in more on this, Nelson Briles, and I believe the Orioles scouting report on Briles said about the same thing the Pirates said about McNally. Good breaking ball pitcher, probably not a fastball pitcher, but he is overpowering the Baltimore Orioles hitters with a great fastball. Has he thrown that way all year long for you guys, Bob Prince?
No, Tony, he has not thrown that way all year long, and basically he's been trying to rely on his breaking stuff and that palm ball. Today, as you point out, he's gone with his good stuff. Now, Dave Leonard will face Willie Stargell. Leonard was 2-3 in 1971 season here with Baltimore, an ERA at 2.83. Spent most of his 19th season in an international league with Rochester. Back in the nest is Roberto Clemente. Bobby now in with 9 base hits in the series. And the Pirates leading 4-0. McNally had in 4 innings, nobody out here in the 5th, has surrendered 3 earned runs, 1 unearned run, is responsible for Clemente aboard. 7 hits, 3 strikeouts, and 2 walks. In the National League, very few pitchers ever throw over to first base on Clemente. They consider it an extreme waste of time. I honestly, in all the years I've watched him, never seen him picked off first base. Pop up on the third base side to Brooks Robinson. And there's 1 out. There's activity again in the Oriole bullpen. Here's Bobby Robertson, who hit a home run in the 2nd inning. Got aboard on an error in the 3rd that allowed Clines to reach third base safely, and Robertson, of course, the 1st. And then McNally wild pitched Clines home with a 3rd run. Tom Dukes is up. Robertson. There again's the toss. Giving Robertson an awful big hole off the first base side. Right over the top, ball 1. Now on your split screen, that is Roberto Clemente and Boog Powell there. Robertson at the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. The Pirates leading 4-0. 2 balls and no strikes. You know, Kurt, a couple of years ago, Robertson was an easy strikeout victim, but he really went to work at learning how to lay off bad pitches.
It happens to a lot of young hitters when they come to the big leagues. They're behind and they gradually catch up, learn how to look for their pitch.
High pop foul, and let's see if it's still in playing territory. It's drifting over near the railing and will be in the seats. And the umpire there getting that foul ball. It's a ball, 2, strike 1 count to Bob Robertson. Clemente the runner at first, a run in and 1 out. Pittsburgh 4 and Baltimore 0. 3-1.
Speaking of catching up with big league pitching, I think the Giants have a fellow much like Robertson here, Dave Kingman, young right-handed slugger who is going to catch up with him and be a real factor in the National League in the power department.
Oh, there can be no denying that. And he came right out of a appendectomy operation. About 11 days later, he was hitting grand slam home runs. 3 balls and a strike. 3-2. Now, normally, Danny Murtaugh does not have his runner going with Robertson up there for obvious reasons. Leonard thinks maybe he might be. It's about the 5th time he's gone fishing over that way. Ball 4, and Clemente was not going. Now that, for the Orioles, is their 3rd walk. Clemente at second is the responsibility of the departed pitcher, Dave McNally. And now Manny Sanguillen, who singled and stole a base back in the 2nd inning and then scored a run and then struck out in the 3rd, stands in.
The Pirates have had at least 1 man on base now, 11 innings in a row, since they went out 1, 2, 3 in the 2nd inning last night. It seems like every time you look up, they've got somebody on.
Well, at the end of 4 innings here, they now, through all the series games, had stranded 45. Foul ball. Sanguillen, if he should hit a home run, Pirate fans would like to see him do it. You'll have ample opportunity to watch him go around the paths. It looks like a walkathon. Takes a long time getting around. 1-1. Very amiable individual. There's Bobby Clemente and Bobby Robertson. Lots of speed on the front end of the 2 runners. Ball 2. Sanguillen is a very happy individual. He's from Panama. He's a boxer. He's a youngster. Tremendous power, but very, very happy individual. A pop-up off the first base side, and if it stays in foul territory, it will. No infield fly rule, so it's 2 down. Boog Powell making that grab. Now Jose Pagan, who struck out and singled to left in the 4th. Now remember, as Kurt told you earlier, the Pirates throughout this season have been a very fine 2-out scoring ball club. They've already shown that. Here, scoring 1 of their 2 runs in the 2nd inning with 2 out and scoring another one in the 3rd with 2 out. They lead 4-0 here in the bottom of the 5th. No balls, 1 strike. 1-1. That's Clemente at second, Bobby Robertson at first. Bobby singled to drive in Kleins, who had tripled. Robertson got on a walk. The Orioles have really given Pagan a lot of acreage out in center field. Just wide open gaps straight away out there. 2 balls and a strike. There you see the alignment of the Oriole inner defense and outer defense. That's popped into shallow center, back Belanger and up Paul Blair. And it'll be Paul Blair for the out. So the Pirates score in the 5th inning, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and strand a pair. At the end of 5 innings, Pittsburgh 4 and Baltimore nothing. know you didn't. I know I didn't. And I know he did. I don't know. Just something he dreamed up so he could have a little something to talk about, I guess. But I know doggone well you never said it, and I know I didn't. Sure do. No way.
Saturday afternoon at 12:45 Eastern Time, we will be back at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore for the 6th game of the World Series. And at the moment, it looks as though the Pirates will go into that game with a 3-2 lead, but we are just now in the 6th inning. And of course, the Orioles have a lot of firepower that carried them to the American League pennant, their 3rd in as many years. And of course, they also won back in 1966, missing out in 67 to the Red Sox and 68 to Detroit. Problem becomes for Baltimore. They have now gone 13 complete innings since scoring a run. They scored 3 in the first inning last night, went the final 8 without a run, and the first 5 here this afternoon without a run. And what is more, Nelson Briles, who's only pitched 3 innings since September the 30th, and that's all he pitched, and has been bothered by a pulled hamstring muscle, has allowed 1 base hit, 1 walk. That man was erased on a double play, and has struck out 2. Things at the moment in this 5th game look tough for the Birds. But it's 4-0. Top of the 6th, Belanger to lead off, and here's Bill O'Donnell.
Inside the bag at third, up to the carpet is Pagan. 1 strike deal coming in. Breaking ball, grounded towards third. Inside the bag, Pagan digs it out, throws out the speedy Belanger, and that's the first out in the top of the 6th inning. Dave Leonard, the relief pitcher, is due. We are screened from the Baltimore dugout area on the third base side of the field. And let's see who's going to come up. It's going to be a fellow they call in Baltimore the Little Mosquito, Tom Shilpay. Shilpay has been to bat twice in this series as a pinch hitter and has failed to pick up a base hit. Shilpay during 1971 against American League pitching batted .257. He does not have power. He does have great speed. Shilpay still feeling a couple of bats in the on-deck area, and he will come on to bat for Leonard, which means that Tom Dukes, a big, strong right-hander, will come out of Baltimore's bullpen to pitch against the Pirates in the bottom half of this 6th inning. It's Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing, and this is Game 5. Game 6 will come up Saturday in Baltimore. And if there's a 7th game, it stays right in Baltimore on Sunday afternoon. Third baseman Pagan playing just about the same against the left-hand swings of Shilpay as he did against the right-hand swings ahead of him of Belanger. A strike right down the groove. Shilpay is a little fellow, and he moves as far as he can to the front of the box. He's got that deep waist bend right on top of the plate. The 1-strike pitch is outside and high. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tommy Shilpay. Close and inside the bag at third, Pagan. He stays right there. Well over to left is Stargell against the left-hand batter, who strokes it foul to the netting. A ball and 2 strikes to Shilpay, batting for reliever Dave Leonard. Baltimore has only enjoyed 2 base runners in this game. Brooks Robinson, a base hit in the 2nd, a Hendricks walk in the 5th. The next pitch, Shilpay strokes a foul straight back. So the count rides between Nellie Briles and Tommy Shilpay at a ball and 2 strikes. Towards the hole against the left-hand batter at short is Hernandez. The 1-2 whipped in and fouled straight back again. That count keeps now at a ball and 2 strikes. Playing well towards the left field foul line, although Shilpay cuts from the left side, is Stargell. Well into left center is Kleins. A bit to right center is Clemente. It is rare that Shilpay pulls. He moves the ball around. 1-2 again. Low and away as Briles try to chew off that outside corner to the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 away in Baltimore's half of the 6th inning. Nelson Briles, the man from St. Louis, winding and dealing 2-2. Here's a high drive, deep right field. Clemente going back in front of the warning area, leaps up and makes the grab. That was not a circus leap by Clemente, but he did have to come off his feet just before he hit the warning track in right. So Shilpe, batting for Leonard, gives the ball a good ride, but Clemente galloped back to bring it home. Here's Baltimore's leadoff batter, Don Buford, popped to the shortstop in the first inning and bounced out third to first in the third. Buford is 2 for 15 in this World Series. In 4 Baltimore seasons, Buford has had a fabulous on-base percentage of better than 400%. Strike with a Briles fastball at the knees. And there's Pagan against Buford just as he stayed against Belanger and Shilpe, well inside the bag at third. The 0-1 changeup is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Briles, who was very, very impressive in late season starts, equally impressive today in this 5th World Series game. Here's a high drive to right field. Clemente comes in and now backs off. Clemente is there, and Briles has a 1-2-3 6th inning. At the end of 5.5 innings, it's Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing.
Jim Simpson, along with Bill O'Donnell, and we're back at Three Rivers Stadium. It is the last of the 6th inning. Tom Dukes is coming on. Dukes, born in Knoxville, Tennessee, now lives out in Arcadia, California. And he is, of course, in his first year with the Orioles after service with Houston and then San Diego. Appeared in 28 ball games. 1 run, lost 5, had 4 saves. Run average of 3.52, and has made 1 appearance in the 1971 World Series. Worked 1 inning, walked nobody, gave up no hits, pitched a perfect inning. He'll face Jackie Hernandez in this 4-0 ball game. The Pirates lead it over the Orioles as we go to the last of the 6th. And here's Bill O'Donnell.
Well, Pittsburgh today has looked at off-speed stuff, breaking balls from McNally, average fastball, breaking pitches from Leonard. Now they go against a hard thrower, Dukes. And there's a hard breaking ball for strike 1. It is rare that Dukes throws the changeup. He's got a good live fastball and an extremely good hard curve when he's right. The strike 1 pitch to Jackie Hernandez. Breaking ball fouled off the end of the Hernandez bat behind the plate. 2 strikes to Hernandez. McNally struck him out on a high pitch in the 2nd inning, and then Hernandez picked on McNally for a base hit to center in the 4th. On that base hit, Pagan tried to race to third and was cut down. Blair's throw to Brooks Robinson. Dukes waiting on Hernandez to get set. He spreads the feet right in the middle of the box. Right-hander to right-hander, 0-2. Foul to the right side. Still 2 strikes to Jackie Hernandez. Hernandez, in his first Pirate year, he was with the Kansas City Ball Club last year and came over to Pittsburgh during the off-season together with pitcher Bob Johnson in exchange for little shortstop Freddie Potek and pitcher Bruce Dalcanton. The 0-2er by Dukes to Hernandez, and it hits him on the arm, I believe. It hit him on the arm or the wrist on the right side, and now it's being checked by the plate umpire Jim Odom. And here is Hendricks complaining, plus Earl Weaver complaining, both complaining to Odom that the ball first hit the bat and then hit the wrist. Odom's decision at the moment is that Hernandez was hit first by the pitch. Hendricks has moved out of the argument. Weaver remains in the argument with plate umpire Odom. There's no doubt it hit him on the hand or the wrist, but the doubt as far as Weaver and Hendricks are concerned is that it hit the bat first. Sudol begins to move down the foul line to try to break off the Weaver-Odom squabble. In the first inning, a Pirate leadoff man got on, Cash, with a walk. In the second, the leadoff man Robertson homered. In the third, the leadoff man Klein's walked. In the fourth, the leadoff man Pagan singled. In the fifth, the leadoff man Klein's tripled. So for the 6th straight inning, a Pittsburgh leadoff man has reached. This time on a controversial call as far as Weaver, Hendricks, and the plate umpire Odom are concerned. Now it's Odom along with third base umpire Sudol that are surrounding the complaining Oriole manager Earl Weaver.
Well, some may wonder why Earl Weaver up such a fuss on getting the leadoff man on. As we have said before, a 4-run lead and the tying run can come to plate. A 5-run lead, and you can never send the tying run to plate. And, of course, here in the 6th inning, the Pirates have what could be the 5th run, the leadoff man on base. And thus Weaver rates the big argument, but as always happens, he has lost it. Here comes Nellie Bryant.
Crowd naturally from this Pittsburgh crowd of 50,000 plus getting a very warm, long greeting. He singled over a Pirate run in the 2nd inning, laid down a sacrifice bunt in the 4th inning. Hernandez at first base leads, and he's held by Powell. The stretching Dukes delivers. Briles turns, tries to bunt, and doesn't get it for strike 1. On that attempted bunt by Nelson Briles, not only did Dave Johnson, the second baseman, start to circle towards first base, but the veteran right fielder, Frank Robinson, rushed in all the way from shallow right to go to first base against Hernandez. The set by Dukes, he pauses right outside the belt. Still gazes to first base, delivers. The bunt is foul off the end of the bat behind the plate. Briles the first time, unsuccessful bunting, missed it, and now has fouled off the next delivery. Dave McNally started this 5th game for Baltimore. Relieved in the bottom of the 5th inning by Dave Leonard. Leonard was yanked for a pinch hitter Chopin in the top half of this inning, so it's Tom Dukes now in the bottom of the 6th inning. He's got Hernandez to concern him, leading off first base. Briles on the 0-2, swings away and misses. He took the full cut and give Dukes a strikeout. Briles returning to the Pirates' first base dugout, and here's leadoff man Dave Cash. Cash walked to begin the Pirate first inning. Bounced into a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning, and then had a base hit taken away from him by Belanger in the hole at short. Belanger not only had to range wide to the hole at short, he had to throw deep from the hole to get the speed of Dave Cash. So the man out of Tennessee, Tom Dukes, facing the man out of upstate New York, Utica's Dave Cash, batting with 1 on and 1 away. The set and the pitch is low to Dave Cash. 1 ball and no strikes. Cash is what they call in baseball lingo a contact hitter. He rarely strikes out. Hernandez, short lead with 1 out. The 1-0 is down the middle but low. 2 balls and no strikes. Hendricks knew it had the plate. He also thought it had the knees of Cash. Cash now giving his third base boss, Frank Osiak, that green light or red light look. Dukes sets, delivers. Breaking ball, hit high to right field, down the right field foul line. It is a foul ball. 2 feet foul down in the right field corner. And when the ball dropped foul, the base runner Hernandez was only 3 strides away from third base. So Cash got that go-ahead sign from third base coach Osiak and sailed it foul down the right field side. 2 balls, 1 strike to Cash. He is 3 for 19 in this, his very first World Series. The young rookie, the first man ever to take away a job from veteran Pirate Bill Mazeroski, and many other fellows had tried to do that in prior years. Cash flicking the bat out towards the set of Dukes. Dukes throws to first base, and back safely is Hernandez. Hernandez was hit on the wrist by Dukes' pitch to start the Pirates' 6th, and then Briles, after trying to sacrifice, eventually struck out. The 2-1, the runner goes. Here's a ground ball to Brooks Robinson at third. No throw to second, throw to first in plenty of time to retire Cash. So as they have done so much in this World Series, the Pirates run and swing again. They ran Hernandez, they had Cash swing away and bounce out third to first. So the Pirates again have a runner at second base. Hernandez with 2 out, and they're going to bat Speedy Gene Klein. It was Kleins who began the bottom of the 5th inning against McNally with a long wallop to deep center. So long, in fact, it one-hopped off the wall in center. And by the time the ball returned to the infield, there was Kleins with a head-first diving slide into third base for a 3-bagger. Kleins has also drawn a walk and also bounced into a force play. He's stolen a base and scored a pair of runs. Kleins, a little right-hand batter, with Hernandez off second and 2 down. Breaking ball is outside. Kleins began to put the finger on that swing trigger and then laid off it. In 1968, pitching for Houston, Dukes appeared incidentally in 9 consecutive games in relief, tying a major league record. The Baltimore right-hander Dukes looks back to second. Breaking ball fanned at and missed by the swinging Kleins. Ball 1, strike 1 count. Pirate people tell us that Kleins has the best speed from the batting area down the first base foul line to the bag. Dukes paying attention to Hendricks, now looks back to the runner. His 1-1 is outside, 2 balls and 1 strike. All of Tom Dukes' pitching jobs this year for manager Earl Weaver, strictly as a reliever. Most of the times in middle relief, once in a while in late relief. 2-1 pitch. Breaking ball skied into center field. Blair is right there, does the waiting job, and Blair has it in the glove for out number 3. At the end of 6 innings of play, it's Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing.
Thank you very much. Bill?
Thank you, Jim, and our thanks also to Bing Crosby as we start the top of the 7th inning. And Bryle starts off Blair with a looking strike at the knees. Bryle struck out Blair gazing in the first inning. Blair flied to right in the 4th, so this is his 3rd trip against tough right-hander Bryle. It's 0-1, strike 2, knee-high fastball. Bryle has 4 pitches, fastball, curve, sinker off the fastball, and a palm ball. And he's had great control. 0-2 to Blair. Low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pittsburgh's lead is 4-0. Bryle has been extremely stingy, giving up just 1 base hit to Brooks Robinson in the 2nd inning. Right now, he's ahead of the right-hand swings of Blair. 1-2. Throws a breaking ball fouled off the end of the bat. Blair with a late swing. A defensive swing as he tried to protect that outside corner. Count rides at 1-2. So far, through the first 6 innings, Bryle has never had to push on the panic button. Blair, 1-2. Hits a pop-up into shallow center. On comes Klein. Back is Hernandez. It's Klein there for the put-out. Blair becomes out number 1. When the Orioles came to Pittsburgh, they had produced 24 base hits in the first 2 games, winning 5-3 and 11-3. In 3 games now, of course the 3rd game here in Pittsburgh not complete, the Orioles have managed only 8 base hits. They had 3 hits in game 3, 4 hits last night, just 1 bingle today. Hoop Powell against Bryle, a strike at the letters. Powell has bounced to the mound and lined to leaping second baseman Cash in the 4th. The shortstop Hernandez has back to the tartan turf outfield and to the first base side of second. Winding, Bryle 0-1. Sends in a strike. He challenged Powell with a belt-high fastball. That normally is Powell's power zone. Belt-high down the middle. So Bryle's outguessed Powell. Every Pittsburgh pitcher has changed styles against Powell, thrown fastballs and then change-ups and try to confuse him. The 0-2. Here's a high foul straight back towards the NBC booth, and, well, naturally it's out of play. Pittsburgh, 4 runs and 7 hits against McNally, Leonard, and Dukes. Baltimore, no runs, just 1 hit against Bryle. The only fellow between 3rd and 2nd against Powell is Pagan. 0-2, change-up, lined, right center base hit, right by the shortstop Hernandez, who is playing to the first base side of second. So there's hit number 2, and the first safety since a Brooks Robinson base knock in the 2nd. Powell with his 2nd base hit in this World Series. He's at first base with 1 out, and Frank Robinson steps up. Frank Robinson fouled out to first baseman Robertson in the 2nd inning, and Bryle struck him out on a slider in the 3rd. Baltimore needs 4 runs to tie in the late stages now of this ball game. Needs 5 to go ahead. Powell's lead, not held by Robertson. Here's a high pop-up towards the Pittsburgh dugout, and it will go back of the dugout out of play. Strike 1 to Frank Robinson. Frank Robinson, who produced not only 500 home runs during his major league career this season, he had 28 for the season and had kind of a slow start. No home runs in the month of April. Then he came back with 4 in May, had 6 in June. He had a big July with 8 homers, tailed off a bit in August with 3, and then came back with 7 in September. 1 strike to Frank Robinson. He hits a ground chopper wide at third, gloved by Puck on to second for 1. The first of the play. The Pirates go around the horn. Third baseman Pagan, second baseman Vance, the first baseman Robertson, doubling up Powell and the batter Frank Robinson. No runs, 1 hit, nobody left. In the middle of the 7th inning, Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing.
Well, you begin to realize now it is 15 innings since the Orioles have gotten on the scoreboard against the Pittsburgh pitching. The Pirate pitching staff is judged by those who know to be better than the Baltimore pitching staff, and we're speaking of the bullpen now. The Pirate starters are not said to be up to snuff to the 4 20-game winners that the Baltimore Orioles have, and McNally and Palmer certainly did the job down in Baltimore on Saturday and Monday. But since coming back here, Steve Blass, a 15-game winner, did a great job in his 5-1 decision. In relief last night, 21-year-old Bruce Keeson was mystical for the Orioles. He gave up no runs and only 1 hit and 6 in the 3rd innings. And now this afternoon, Nelson Bryant has thoroughly throttled the Orioles. As we go to the last of the 7th, the Pirates at the moment are in command 4-0 and send up Clemente, Stargell, and Robertson. And here's Bill O'Donnell.
And Jim won a 1971 World Series. Roberto Clemente has had 1 for 3 this afternoon, 9 for 20 in 5 games so far. Dukes to Clemente. Fastball strike, and he chewed off the inside corner at Clemente's knees. Now, Clemente is nowhere near the plate. Matter of fact, he's way off it and deep to the box. The 0-1 to Roberto. Breaking ball slapped on the ground foul down towards third. I guess the most remarkable thing about the consistent hitting of Clemente is the position in which he stands in the box. He stands well off the plate, back to the deep restraining line, and he reaches outside pitches just as equally well as he does inside pitches or grooving stuff down the middle. Clemente leading off the Pirates' 7th, down 0-2 to Dukes. Fouls it off the thumb, straight back. Clemente drove Frank Robinson to the right field wall for a fly ball in the 1st inning to be retired. Bounced out to short in the 3rd, and then got his face hit in this ball game in the 5th inning, which also knocked out starter McNally and scored Gene Pine. 2-strike pitch again. High, 1 ball, and 2 strikes. Clemente with a 12-game World Series hitting streak. Hit in all 7 1960 World Series encounters. High, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Clemente. It'll be Stargell next with Robertson waiting down in the Pirate dugout. Dukes just waiting on Clemente to get set, and he is. Right-hander to right-hander, Dukes to Clemente, foul to the screen. I guess one of the great comical lines and one of the fine lines we've heard during this World Series relating to Roberto Clemente is that somebody sparked the line that Roberto will hit .320 the year after he dies. 2-2 again. Here's a ground ball past Dukes to the right of second base. Johnson is on top of it and throws out Clemente by a step. Clemente lost control of the bat, which rolled out halfway between the plate and the mound. The ground ball was to the first base side of the mound, but Johnson dug it out, then gave an underhand toss to foul. Clemente was out by 1 step. Willie Stargell, hitless today, has grounded to short, has flied to left, and popped up. He had the good evening last night. He went 2 for 5 and knocked over a run. Stargell takes low from right-hander Dukes. 1 ball, no strikes to the Major League home run leader of 1971. Winding, Dukes delivers. Strike. He took the fastball to the outside edge. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dukes concentrating on Hendricks, shakes off his side. Now he says, okay, I like that one better. 1-1er, Stargell takes high. Talk about a fellow who has traveled. Well, Dukes has been all around the minors and a couple of clubs in the majors. He's been to St. Petersburg, Auburn, Augusta, Columbus, Richmond, Atlanta, Toledo, Oklahoma City. Outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. The last 2 years, 69 and 70, he spent with the San Diego Padres. He came over with Pat Dobson off-season. Worked Stargell 3-1. Line drive, base hit, center field. That was right past the reaching glove of Dukes at the first base side of the mound. Stargell with his first hit today, with hit number 4 in this series. Bangs a 1-out base hit to center, and here comes Bob Robertson. It was Robertson who got the Pirates ahead with a leadoff homer, a solo job in the 2nd inning. He has since reached on an error by third baseman Brooks Robinson, also walked in the 5th. So Robertson has yet to be retired today. Stargell is the 1-out Pirate runner, leading at first base and bird dogged by Powell. Dukes checks, now throws. Swing and a miss at a knee-high breaking ball. The Pirates batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. And this, friends, is Game 5 of the World Series. Locked up at 2 victories apiece. At the moment, the Pirates look very much in command, as Briles has only given up 2 base hits. 1 striker. Robertson looks low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Most people talk about the big power bat of Robertson, but they might forget that back in June, he set a record for the most assists by a first baseman in a ball game. Waits 1-1. Takes outside high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Stocky, sandy-haired, barrel-chested built Bob Robertson in the bottom of the 7th inning. He has had 6 postseason home runs, 4 in the playoffs and 2 in this World Series. 2-1 by Dukes. Is tapped in front of the plate. Picked up barehanded by Hendricks. No throw to second. Does gun his toss in time to Powell. And Robertson is out. Robertson took a full whiff with the bat. Just got a piece of the ball. It trickled about 3 feet in front of the plate. Hendricks charged out, barehand pickup. Looks to Stargell running to second. Knew he had no move there. Threw to first base to retire Robertson. Stargell's at second with 2 out. And the batter is the tough Manny Sanguillen. Sanguillen has a base hit, plus a steal and a run scored. 4 runs, 8 hits for Pittsburgh. No runs, 2 hits for Baltimore in Game 5 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Dukes gives a backward glance to Stargell's lead, and a good lead at second base. Sanguillen, the right-hand batter, hits a fly ball center field way. Blair comes on. He makes the knee-high catch to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. So that puts the cover on 7 innings with a score. Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing.
Over the Orioles, as we go to the top of the 8th inning, here are some of the statistics here at Three Rivers Stadium. Baltimore has scored 4 runs in these 3 games. On a home run by Frank Robinson on Tuesday, a pass ball and 2 sacrifice flies last night. And in the last 14 innings, Baltimore has had no runs and just 3 hits. And we come to the 8th inning and they trail 4-0. Hendricks leads it off, and here's Bill O'Donnell.
All right, Ellie Hendricks has fly to center. He walked against Briles in the 5th inning. This is the top of the 8th. Pittsburgh leading 4-0. Ground ball, back of first base. Mitted by Robertson. Goes to the bag himself. Unassisted putout. Robertson retiring Elrod Hendricks on the first pitch as we're in the top of the 8th inning. That was a hot hammering smash just inside the first base foul line. Robertson was a good 5 strides deep behind the bag. Got the ball right in the mitt and then outchased Hendricks to retire him unassisted. 1 gone, top of the 8th. Here is Brooks Robinson. He has singled and bounced into a double play. He and Powell have the only base hits off right-hander Briles. Briles cranks up and moves the ball outside. Ball 1. Brooks Robinson is 6 for 15 in this World Series. He was 9 for 21 in the World Series a year ago against Cincinnati. Pumping, delivering 1-0. Here's a high drive deep to left field. Stargell is on the warning track. He's got it. Brooks Robinson pulled it, but not deep enough. Stargell was playing deep and left, galloped back 2 or 3 strides, hit the warning area to retire Brooks Robinson. So Briles has set down two fellows who can hit long balls, Hendricks and Brooks Robinson. Now he meets the right-hand swinging second baseman, Dave Johnson. Two gone, bases empty. Here's a high pop-up. Shortstop Hernandez to the outfield carpet in fair ground. Hernandez for the third out. In the middle of the eighth inning, Justice Briles sets down Baltimore 1-2-3. It's Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing.
Back in Pittsburgh for the last of the eighth inning. Down in the Pittsburgh bullpen, Steve Blass, who pitched that marvelous game on Tuesday, winning 5-1, has been throwing, and we would hazard a guess that Blass is simply loosening up. He did not pitch, of course, yesterday, and this is the second day, and he may be just loosening up. Blass, along with Bob Johnson, possible starter on Saturday in the sixth game, and both are listed possible starters for Sunday. The last of the eighth, the Pirates up. Here's Bill O'Donnell.
And Jose Pagan swings and doesn't get a hard breaking ball under his knees. Strike one. McNally struck out Pagan in the second. Pagan had a base hit in the fourth, fly to center in the fifth inning. Dukes has been on the scene in relief following McNally and Leonard since the sixth inning. He's given up one base hit and hit a man. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike to Pagan. This is the lower end, the tail end of the Pirate batting order, with Pagan starting off, to be followed by Hernandez and Briles. Dukes winding, guns in the 1-1. Here's a high foul to the right of home plate. Coming down is the Powell from first base. He bangs into Hendricks. It's in the mid. He rolls over, and Powell holds onto it. About 30 feet away from home plate and about 3 steps in foul ground. Powell, the big 260-pounder, was charging into foul territory. He and Hendricks were both under the foul pop-up. Powell got his mid out, then banged into Hendricks. Powell rolled over, but kept it in the mid. Pagan has fouled out. 1 away, bottom of the eighth inning. Here's Jackie Hernandez, the eighth man, on the right-hand swinging Pirate shortstop. He hits a ground foul, beat to third. 1 strike to Hernandez. Now, when you've got a big man like Powell, 260 pounds plus, rushing down towards the toothpick build of an Elrod Hendricks, that's like a motorcycle being hit by a truck. Hernandez, 0-1. Hits a line drive, base hit, center field. Hernandez has now been a base runner 3 times in this game with 2 base hits and also hit by a pitch. Now Pirate fans welcome Nelson Briles. With 1 out, escapes off first base, and Powell is holding. The set to the belt, Dukes delivers. Briles turns, bunts in front of the plate. Fair hand pickup by the catcher. Hendricks throws to first, in time to Johnson covering. And on the sacrifice by Briles, the second time he's done that today, and done it the same way, pushing it in front of the plate. Hendricks does the fielding bare hand job again and throws out Briles. Hernandez motors to second with 2 out, and the batter will be Dave Cash. Cash hitless today, plus a walk. 3 hits in the series. Not known for power. Does drive the ball a lot to the opposite field. That would be right field for his right-hand swing. Dukes with a backward look to Hernandez. Good lead off second base. Cash strokes a line drive to short and gloved by the shortstop, Belanger. He just took 1 stride to his glove side. So 8 innings are complete in Game 5 of the World Series, and the score is Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing.
Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell, and we're to the top of the 9th inning, and the Baltimore Orioles have not been able to scratch against Nelson Briles today, who has pitched a masterful 2-hit shutout thus far, but he has been masterful throughout the month of September. Now you can add October to it. And the Orioles have now gone since the first inning last night without a run. That means the last 16 innings they have been held scoreless by Pirate pitching. And they're starting off with the number 8 batter in their last chance here in the ninth. Pirates lead it 4-0. And here's Bill O'Donnell.
Well, for Baltimore fans right now, Jim, it's do time or die time in the top of the ninth inning. Riles with a 4-run lead, pitching to Belanger. Right down the middle, letter high, strike one. The do batter was reliever Dukes, but he's not in the on-deck area. Merv Rettenmund, a right-hand batter, is there. Winding Briles, 0-1. Slider low, 1 ball and 1 strike. He took a little something off that pitch. Pagan at third again has inched inside the bag against Belanger. Belanger has great speed down the first baseline. Briles, 1-1. High, 2 balls and 1 strike. The Pirate outfield extremely spread for Belanger. They gap the power alleys to Belanger in left center and right center. Count is 2 balls, 1 strike to Belanger, starting off Baltimore's top of the ninth. Briles cranks up, 2-1. Here's the ground ball right at third base from Pagan inside the bag. Belanger's out. Pagan to Robertson. Merv Rettenmund will now be announced. Rettenmund to bat for Tom Dukes. Rettenmund in the World Series is 4 hits in 17 trips, including a first game 3-run homer at Baltimore. And that's where Game 6 and possibly Game 7 will be played Saturday and possibly Sunday. Baltimore will very definitely throw Jim Palmer against Pittsburgh on Saturday. It will either be Bob Johnson or Steve Blas for Danny Murtaugh's Pirates. Rettenmund, right-hand swinger with extra base power and often with long ball power. He closes his stance deep in the box. Pitches inside high, ball 1. Pagan 2 or 3 steps wide of third, but even with the bag. Deep left is Stargell. Deep center straight away is Clines. Normal depth to right center, Clemente. The 1-0 coming to the pinch hitter, Rettenmund. Strike is at his letters. 1 ball and 1 strike. Briles faced only 3 men in the first, 4 in the second, 3 in the third, 3 in the fourth, 3 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth, 3 in the seventh, and 3 last inning. 1-1er to Rettenmund. Breaking ball comes low, 2 balls and 1 strike. Just 2 singles off Nelson Briles. Brooks Robinson with 2 out in the second. Boog Powell with 1 out in the seventh. And then Powell was rubbed out on Frank Robinson's double play ground ball, third, second to first. Rettenmund, 2-1. Inside, right at the hands, 3 balls and 1 strike. In the Pittsburgh bullpen, it's left-hander Luke Walker and right-handed bullpen ace Dave Justy. After Rettenmund, it'll be the top of Baltimore's order with Don Buford. And for one of the few times today, Briles has taken a long, relaxing pause at the mound. Now he's ready to shoot in the 3-1. In he comes. Strike is gone. He's 3 balls, 2 strikes to Rettenmund. 1 away in the top of the ninth inning. Briles has shut the door in every inning thus far against Baltimore's bats. Well, Pirate fans were very pleased with the job Steve Blas did in Game 3. They're even more pleased with Briles right now. 3-2. Ground ball to the bag at third. Scooped out by Pagan. Throws out Rettenmund. Both Belanger and Rettenmund have bounced out corner to corner. Pagan to Robertson. 2 out. Base is empty. Don Buford's the batter. Don Buford, the graduate of the University of Southern California. And a lad, although he was only 160 pounds at USC, he was in their backfield with the likes of a Willie Wood. 2 out, bases clean. Briles to Buford. High and outside. Buford switch swinger, so he's batting left-handed against the right-hand offerings of Nelson Briles. Series tied, 2 victories apiece. The Pirates lead in Game 5, 4-0, top of the ninth, 1-0. Low and tight, 2 balls, no strikes to the good eyes of Buford. During 1971, Buford walked 89 times, was hit 7 times by opposing pitchers, had 130 base hits, and that's how great his on-base percentage was. He's been held off the bases thus far today by Briles. 2-0 coming in. Ball 3. Briles has walked but one man, and that was Hendricks to begin the top of the 5th inning. He's in danger now against Buford, trailing on a 3-ball, no strike count. Around with his right arm, delivers. Ball 4. He throws 4 pitches out of the strike zone, and Baltimore with 2 out gets a base runner here in the top of the 9th inning. Now it'll be Paul Blair, who has looked at strike 3, who has flied to right and flied to center. For the first time today, there is a mound meeting involving the Pirates, involving young second baseman Cash, veteran catcher San Guillen, and the 28-year-older Nelson Briles. Briles, as Jim Simpson told you earlier in this broadcast, has not appeared in a ball game since the 30th of September, and that was only a 3-inning start against the Phillies. Buford's lead not held by Robertson with 2 out at first base. Blair ducks back. The pitch is in at his chin. 1 ball, no strikes to Blair. Boog Powell is on deck. And now we've got the top lieutenant of Danny Murtaugh's coaching staff, Bill Verdon, making his first visit to the mound. Again, a reminder now, the Pirates are keeping their bullpen warm here in the top of the 9th with tall left-hander Walker and the top ace of the Pirate bullpen crew, right-hander Dave Justy. Briles at the mound, surrounded by third baseman Pagan, by catcher San Guillen, and coach Bill Verdon. Now, Verdon, I'm sure, is out there for a couple of reasons. Perhaps inquiring of Briles, how strong do you feel? Additionally, maybe urging Briles to just relax and not try to be too fine. Verdon has departed. San Guillen now settles back behind the plate. Briles checking the wigwagging of his catcher San Guillen. Looks to Buford, the long lead at first base. He gets the strike into Blair. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pagan, as he did against Buford and against Belanger to begin the inning, well inside the bag at third. Blair 1-1. Takes a breaking ball for a strike, and Blair complaining on the outside corner call by plate umpire Jim Oden. So Briles strikes ahead of Blair at 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 away in the top of the 9th inning after the 2-out free ticket to Buford on 4 pitches. Robertson is extremely wide of the first base foul line and does not hold on Buford's real long lead. Briles on the 1-2, set, throws. Here's the ground trickler well inside the bag at third. Pagan throws to second. The ball game is over. Pagan gets the force play on a toss to catch. And Pittsburgh leads in this World Series 3 victories to 2. The final score, Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing, and we'll have some highlights for you right after this message.
As it turned out, the leadoff home run by Bob Robertson in the Pirates' 2nd inning was all that Nellie Briles needed as he pitches a 2-hit shutout. San Guillen followed with a single, stole second, and rode home when Nellie Briles himself singled in the 2nd run. Dave McNally, today's loser, who's now 3-2 in World Series play, 1-1 in this World Series, guilty of walking a man. Brooks Robinson committed an error, and a wild pitch scored the 3rd run. The 4th run came on in the 5th inning when Klein tripled, and Clemente brought him home with a base hit, 4-0. And the Orioles never had more than 1 man on base in any inning in the ball game. Never a threat. We'll continue with today's highlights right after this message. Pittsburgh leads 3 games to 2, needs to win only 1 of the final 2. 1 more win, and they've got the World Championship. Baltimore, on the other hand, has to win 2 to win the 1971 World title and complete their successful defense. And to do that, the Orioles need some runs. They have now gone 17 innings against Pirate pitching
since the first inning last night with no score at all in those 17 innings. And we'll have a final word for you about today's game right after this message. Riles the winner, McNally the loser, and the Pirates lead 3 games to 2. From Pittsburgh, this is Jim Simpson along with Bill O'Donnell. The 5th game of the World Series has been brought to you by Gillette Foamy, the #1 shave cream that makes you an old smoothie. By Chrysler Corporation, extra care and engineering. Your host today, your local Dodge dealer. By STP Corporation, makers of world-famous STP oil treatment. The Owens Illinois Forest Products Division, a leading producer of corrugated patch painting. By the Retail Clerks International Association, dedicated exclusively to the interest of store workers. And by the National Bowling Council. No matter what your game is, there's another game in town. Bowling, it's for everybody. The final score once again in the 5th game of the World Series, Pittsburgh 4, Baltimore nothing. This has been an NBC Radio Network production.